Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, a few things here. I'm going to get right into it, as always. So, the first thing, I'm going to start off with some updates. So, my last set for Worldwide FM was just published this last week. And it was a set of around like 16 songs, and they were all songs that I haven't really ever listened to before, so it's all new to me. Also, if you go on Worldwide FM and want to listen to my other sets, you just look up my name and all of them will be listed. So yeah, it's been a couple or a few years of doing this every month. A little bit sad to stop, but also kind of excited to take a break from that for a little bit so that I can rebuild my love for music. Cards Against Humanity. I have a couple friends who work for they make stuff, or they make clothing or textile and designs and stuff for different brands, and they're working with Cards Against Humanity. So this is a pretty deep cut, but Clamonaise is a campaign that they were working on, which is it's a jar of mayonnaise that's clam flavored, and within that jar there's a stack of Cards Against Humanity cards, right? And it was such a hit the first time around that they decided to launch some merch for it. And so my friends who worked for, or who are independent contractors for that brand, reached out to me and asked if I could have a few of my friends together and shoot something for them. So then we shot their merch. Yeah, it was super fun. My boyfriend's sister was in it, and a couple of my other friends from Virtual Normal and from DJing and stuff. And I love shoots like that because it's not like very serious where you want to be like sexy and sultry and stuff. It's just like silly faces, and yeah, it feels more freeing in a sense. On ceramics, so I'm gonna get right back into full production because I took some time off. This is a go-go boot, and you can use it as a cup, which holds 16 ounces. You can drink a can of beer through this and more. You can also just use it as a vase, which is what Maddie does. I started updating my Depop a couple months ago, and it's been super fun. I've been clearing up my closet, and it's just really nice to like be able to go in and like move things around because it was getting really stuffed. And so if you've bought something in the past couple months, thank you so much for the support and for helping me through this. And I've also been like bringing in new pieces too, but slowly. And whenever I get something new in, because I have been buying new things too, I'll try to list something that's very similar or within that same category back up on the site so that it's like a one in, two out situation for me, so that I just have less stuff. But something that I took in are a pair of Madewell pants that I've been wearing a ton lately. My boyfriend actually hemmed it for me because the size that I got was a little bit too long. And I will say they're like wide leg sailor-ish pants, and they're a really comfortable material. They run big though. So if you're interested in buying these pants, size down. So I'm usually between a 4 and a 6. I went for a 4, and that's still too big, so I wish I would have gotten like a 2. If you can, go into the store and try it on. Their sizing is just like a bit strange, and even after washing it and drying it, it didn't really shrink that much. So yeah, try it on. So I've been wearing those a lot. They're super comfy, and they make you look super tall, so they're great. So for the month of October, I was gone for about 10 days. My boyfriend and I went camping for 8 days and nights, and then stayed at his mom's house for 2 days. So where did we start off? We started off, well, in LA, obviously, and then went over to Nevada to meet up with his brother who works, well, he used to work for a nonprofit, like fixing fences, making signs, making trails and stuff, and giving tours in... gosh, what is this place called? Gold Butte. So he took us to a couple different spots where he showed us petroglyphs and like little fins, and yeah, it was just really cool. And driving through to get there, there's not that many signs everywhere, and it's not blown out like a lot of different places that are closer to LA. And because he was there, we were able to see petroglyphs, because otherwise I feel like we would have missed it, because they're kind of hard to spot. And the reason why they don't put signs up to point out where they are is because people have been shooting at them or like vandalizing them, carving over them and stuff. And these are things that are like 1,500 years old, and people are just really disrespectful. So I understand why they don't put signs up everywhere. So we started in Nevada, went through Arizona for a quick moment, and then up to southern Utah, stayed there for a couple days, and then went back down through Arizona to visit his mom. And on the way down through Arizona, we went through Sedona and then went to Arco Sante, which is this place that I've been to a couple times before. I went once with Maddie, I went once by myself, and then I really wanted to show my boyfriend. So we stopped by there. And if you don't know about Arco Sante, it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. It's like an experimental town, like a smaller town. And the point of that town is that the people who live there also work there. And it's like a community, right? So everyone kind of supports each other. Everyone puts in their work and works on their own things. Everyone also gets paid, but the rent is also really cheap too. Yeah, it just seems like a really cool place to live. And I know they teach a lot of classes there. There's workshops on, what is this called? Casting? No, it's bronze casting, right? So there's a foundry there, and they show you how to make bells. And some of the people who live there make these bells and sell it, and that's how they get like about half their income. And then also there's a ceramic studio area too, and it's just stunning. Everything's built with a lot of thought and intention. So it's built in a way that during the summer you get the least amount of sunlight because it is in Arizona, the desert. And then during the winter, you get the most amount of sunlight. And there's also an Airbnb on the property. So if you guys are interested in staying there, then you can look up all the details. I'll leave more info in the down bar if you're interested. But yeah, it's just a beautiful place to visit and collect your thoughts. In terms of media, so during that road trip that we took, we went through Gold Butte, right? And we saw this ranch, and it said the Bundys or something like that, or Bundy Ranch. And we were just looking at it, and I'm like, well, that's pretty interesting. And when we went through Gold Butte, we saw this like wild cattle everywhere, and it was kind of eerie and spooky. And yeah, I just wanted to know more about that area. So we started listening to a podcast called Bundyville, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's essentially about these ranchers who are fighting with the government because they're not paying their grazing fees, and they feel like they have the right to let their cattle roam this land and drink the water and eat the grass and just graze for free and then reap the benefits. There's also endangered tortoise that are getting stomped on, and like a lot of environmental damage that it's causing, and no one's really paying for it. So this podcast kind of talks about the family and different angles. And they actually even went and interviewed the owner of the ranch and the sons. And yeah, so it just goes into a lot of detail, and it was kind of spooky going through that area and then hearing a whole podcast about that family and their beliefs and their believers or followers' beliefs. There's 2 seasons of it, and it's just really interesting. So yeah, we listened to that on the road trip. A movie that I just watched just a couple days ago, fantastic. It's called Triangle of Sadness. My neighbor recommended it, and I didn't do any research on it, didn't watch the trailer or anything. I just knew that it was about people in the world of fashion, and something about like a cruise crash. So it's about these models who are dating, and the female model gets paid 3 times more than the male model. And in the beginning, he talks about gender roles and how, because they were supposed to like split the bill, or she was supposed to pay, or she said that she would pay the day before. And then he's like, yeah, I just don't feel like we should subscribe to this gender role thing. You make more than I do, XYZ and all that stuff. The movie also touches on different layers of a hierarchy system. So when you're on the cruise, there's like a bunch of people who work, and they're trying to get tips from all these rich people who are on this cruise, right? So they always say yes to everyone, and they're all like happy and cheery and all that stuff. And then there's people who are working in the lower area, like cleaning, and they're like ghosts, you know, they basically disappear and then they come in when everyone leaves and they do the whole cleanup and they do all the dirty work. And eventually you kind of see the hierarchy kind of flip when money is no longer a form of currency and beauty is no longer a form of currency, and you have to survive after the ship crashes. So, I mean, I'm not really giving anything away. You just kind of see how things kind of turn, and it's kind of eerie. It's a little bit like Parasite in a way. It's such a fantastic movie, and I highly recommend it. And I can't believe no one's ever talked about it, or no one told me about it before. My neighbor. I brought this book with me when I went camping. This is called Frankie's Spintino. It's the kitchen companion and cooking manual. I know it's like a recipe book essentially, but there's a bunch of stories on technique and why they make things the way they make things and the ingredients that they use. It's an Italian restaurant in New York, and it's pretty popular. But the cool thing that I really like about this book is that they use a lot of ingredients that you wouldn't think, like white pepper or 5-spice powder. And they talk about like the history of Italian food and pasta and stuff. And I had no idea that a lot of it is so related to Chinese food. I made the olive oil cake, which was super simple. And I've never really baked anything before. I certainly have never baked anything on my own. And I was able to make the olive oil cake by myself, and it was delicious. I went to a Calpac event a couple weeks ago, right before I went camping, and I got one of these things right here. Maddie got one too. It's a, they call it a sling. So what is it called? It's called the Terra Sling Bag. It looks like a fanny pack, but if you wear it on your hips, it's too big, so it looks really silly. So you kind of have to wear it on your back. I got it in this like really cute salmon color. Maddie got one, I believe, in green, and then my friend Che got it in black. And it's fantastic because there's so many pockets on the inside and the outside. I can bring it with me whenever I go on a bike ride. And yeah, I really like it because before this, I've been using like the really teeny tiny Patagonia bag that I have, which only fits my phone and a wallet and maybe some keys. But this fits even a water bottle, so yeah, I really like it, and it's super comfy. The only thing I will say is that these straps right here, they kind of, they're really slippy. So every once in a while, they'll kind of like slip out. So you have to readjust it pretty often. But what you can also do is just kind of safety pin it down or sew it down so it stays in place. But yeah, really cute. Perfect for hikes. Last thing, so a few months ago, maybe even last year, I talked about these sunglasses that I got from Etsy. They're military surplus frames, and then I got lenses cut in. So these are the zero-base lenses. They're pretty flat. Yeah, they look kind of futuristic and stuff. But then I decided to get another one. They're like $14, and then the lenses are maybe like $35. I really like this, but then I wanted like a different look, so I got this color, orangey amber. I wanted yellow, but the place that I went to didn't have yellow lenses. But yeah, I've been wearing this a lot, and I think it's super cute, and it kind of just brightens up everything and makes everything look rosy and warm. It's a completely different look from the one that I had from last year. So yeah, I might, if I can find a place to do it, I might asked to get this one done in like a yellow color. That's everything. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to share anything that you discovered this past month, please do. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.